Bangwana ni mwalelepo Kenjani Klekwas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa. Good morning. The News and Current Affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashim Betty and Glenora Shipura on Friday, the 15th of March. How are you, Glenn?
I'm doing very well. What are you looking forward to for this weekend?
Some rest. And then, you know, some FA Cup here and there. Liverpool and Manchester United will play on Sunday, so I think that's going to be an entertaining game. Yeah,
that's great that you mentioned rest as well. I think people don't prioritize rest.
Absolutely.
As they should. You know, as much as you work, you also need rest.
Absolutely.
Now, getting into what you can expect in today's broadcast, Nigerian president says they won't pay ransom for kidnap victims. LAM's first cargo plane to start operating from March 25th. Outgoing President Macky Sall sets elections for the 24th of March. A little bit later on in the show, we'll be talking to Mike Sichula, who'll be filling us in on the latest news in Zambia.
Now, Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has ordered security forces not to pay ransom for the release of close to 300 students and staff who were kidnapped from a school in northwestern Kaduna State last week. Tinubu instead directed security agencies to ensure the release of all kidnapped victims without any payment to the kidnappers, the country's information minister Mohammed Idris told reporters on Wednesday. Now, Idris said that the president had told forces searching for the pupils to make sure that not a dime is paid. Earlier, gunmen had kidnapped 286 students and staff from a school in northern Nigeria last week and have demanded a total of $620,432 for their release. A spokesman for the families of the hostages and a local councillor told Reuters. Now, the school children, some older students and members of the school staff were abducted on March 7 in the town of Kuriga, and this is in Nigeria's northwestern Kaduna State.
Getting into our next story, Linhas Areas de Mocambique will operate its first cargo plane from March the 25th. A Boeing 737-300F presented yesterday by the company, which has invested $3 million in the new venture. The general director told Lusa. Mainly it will be for the transport of domestic cargo serving South Africa and Tanzania, but also other countries at a regional level, explained TNS Cruz after the public presentation of the LAM cargo brand and the company's first exclusively cargo aircraft at Maputo Airport. We are facing a new era in LAM's cargo transport services, the general director said at the launch of the company's cargo and Courier Expresso services, which will use the new aircraft acquired under leasing. The new Boeing 737-300F has a cargo capacity per flight of 17 tons and joins LAM's fleet, which includes one Boeing 737-700, 3 Bombardier Q400s, 3 Bombardier CRJs 900s, and 3 Embraer 145s, all for passengers and with cargo capacity per flight that varies between 1.2 and 5 tons.
Now, Senegalese voters have a crowded field of 19 candidates to pick from when they vote this month to elect a new leader to replace President Macky Sall in a tight election whose delay sparked concerns for the future of democracy in the West African country. The vote on March 24 will take place after Sall's attempt to postpone the election, originally planned for February, was overturned by Senegal's top election authority after weeks of violent protests.
The Paris Club of Creditors has reached an agreement with the government of Somalia that will result in the cancellation of up to $2 billion of the country's debt, approximately 99% of the debt owed by the country to the group. This was disclosed in a statement from the group yesterday, where it stated it will forgive the country's nominal debt of $1.2 billion under the enhanced HIPC initiative framework. The move comes following Somalia's completion of the enhanced heavily indebted poor countries initiative of the IMF, where the country was exiled from the international financial system for about 30 years.
Now, a deal the South African government has been negotiating for 3 years to sell majority stake of South African Airways has fallen apart, the minister overseeing the company said. The government announced the planned deal to sell a controlling stake in SAA to the Takatso Consortium in 2021, part of efforts to end recurring bailouts to the flag carrier. But Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan told reporters the government and Takatso had agreed there was no clear path forward for the transaction after a new business and asset valuation.
Wrapping up our top stories, hundreds of people have been rescued from a scam center in the Philippines that made them pose as lovers online. Police said they raided the center yesterday and rescued 383 Filipinos, 202 Chinese, and 73 other foreign nationals. The center, which is about 100 kilometers north of Manila, was masquerading as an online gambling firm, they said. Southeast Asia has become a hub for scam centers, where the scammers themselves are often entrapped and forced into criminal activity. Young and tech-savvy victims are often lured into running these illegal operations, which range from money laundering and crypto fraud to so-called love scams. The latter are also known as pig butchering scams, named after the farming practices of fattening pigs before slaughtering them.
Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. After the break, we're going to be talking to Mike Sichula in Zambia.
World to the spaces we exist in.
Seems
like poor sportsmanship right now from the lads.
You might be physically ready, your body is ready, but mentally.
Here's another chance, and it is a goal from...
But just enough next. Shh.
All right, it's time for us to talk to Mike Sichula. Mike Buriwanji. Okay, we're still having a little bit of connectivity issues there with Mike, but looking at some of his stories, plans are underway to establish one network connectivity across 4 Southern African countries. Could you please give us that story, Mike?
Yes, thank you very much. So this is according to Technology and Science Minister Felix Mutati, who says that the 4 countries, namely Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Malawi, are aiming to boosting telecommunication service provision. He says this harmonization will boost trade across the 4 countries and enhance economic development. So this is part of the regional integration, as well as promoting trade between the 4 countries that are enlisted. Then the plan is expected to take place using telecom companies that are owned by the respective countries. So the minister did not state the time frame, but according to him, this is a matter that the 4 countries have been discussing at length, and they hope to actualize it as soon as possible because, like I have said, it's part of the regional integration because people are moving between from these countries and they want them not to have a problem in terms of connectivity through phones and other means of communication as they conduct their trade.
Well, that definitely sounds like a step in the right direction. Now, getting into your next story, authorities have embarked on a project to harvest water to fill up swamps and parks so that wild animals can have access to drinking water. How's this project going?
Yeah, so the Minister of Tourism, Lotni Sikumba, has been touring some of the national parks, starting from the Zambezi. He's been touring the Mosotuna National Park swamps so that accessing to see how they can use money from how they can harvest water from Zambezi River and transport this water into the swamps that are docked in the parks so that animals can have access to drinking water. He says this when he went to inspect the water situation in some of the parks. As you know, Zambia has been hit with a dry spell that has, which has since been declared a national disaster by the president. And as a way of ensuring that the tourism sector stays afloat, the Ministry of Tourism is making sure that animals do not become victims of this drought because there's no access to drinking water. So this part of harvesting water is one of the measures. The other measures, the government intends to drill boreholes nearest to these national parks so that this water can be accessed by wild animals by way of channeling it into these swamps that are within the national parks. So Zambia is accredited to be a birthplace of walking safaris, and over the years, this practice has become popular amongst foreign tourists, and the government does not want to lose this status because of the dry spell, hence the interventions that are being made.
All right. Now, in a very peculiar story, a civil society organization is calling on the U.S. to place sanctions on Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema and other top officials. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. So the civil society organization called OSIDA petitioned the United States government through their embassy in Lusaka to impose financial sanctions, visa restrictions, and travel bans against top Zambian officials who include President Hakainde Hichilema, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Chief Justice, and also the Minister of Minister of Law, Internal Securities, and the Police Inspector General of Police. However, State House, these officials have been accused of undermining democratic rights in Zambia. However, State House has responded to this letter, which was received by United States Embassy in Zambia on the 18th of March, 2024. State House says OSIDA does not need to drive the country into lawlessness by fostering division amongst citizens. So the State House Chief Communications Specialist, Cresson Hamasaka, says the document is a collection of falsehoods, generalizations, provides no specific evidence, and is malicious. So this is what the State House said when this letter was published online. Then yesterday, the Minister of Information held a media briefing where he also denounced the letter. Then again, within the same day, the members of the same civil society organizations held a briefing where they disowned the chairperson, who is Bishop Teresfo Mfundu, saying Bishop Teresfo Mfundu did not consult all the members of OSIDA when he crafted that letter. So they have asked him to step down from the organization, and another member of the same organization to step down because they are saying the organization is not a partisan organization, and the route that the organization has taken by writing a letter to the United States Embassy is viewed as a political stance.
Now getting into the last of your stories in sports, in some exciting news, Mia Firi has become the first Zambian athlete to bag 2 medals at the ongoing 13th edition of All African Games in Ghana.
Sorry, Mike, let me help my Namibian friend. That's Piri.
Is it Piri?
That's Piri.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Please continue, Mike.
Thank you very much. So in the women's 50 meters freestyle, she clocked an impressive time of 26.7 seconds to secure the 3rd position to win her first bronze medal. Then the latest achievement came after she in the 50 meters backstroke, where she also secured a medal. So far, Zambia has got 4 medals at the ongoing Africa Games. 2 bronze medals in swimming, 1 bronze medal in judo, and another gold medal in judo. So this is something that a number of Zambians are excited and are calling on the government to ensure that sports like swimming, judo are given enough support, because these are the sports that usually do not fail to bring a medal whenever they participate outside Zambia in regional games. So it is also expected that Zambia may bag some medals in the athletics, where we have Commonwealth champion Sam Konga, who is also participating. So it is expected that Zambia can reap more medals from this, the 13th edition of All Africa Games taking place in Ghana.
All right. All the best to Zambia. Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing us the news stories.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning. Do have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
We'll definitely have a lovely weekend indeed. We now take a look at the weather before we return with economic news.
Getting into our economic news stories, a story we highlighted yesterday, albeit we were talking about the central governor's remarks. And here it is. South Africa's central bank governor, Lesetsha Kganyago, has expressed confidence that the country would be removed from an influential global watchdog's list for monitoring dirty money early next year. However, he also expressed regret that South Africa had been placed on the list in the first place, Bloomberg reported.
In Kenya, the Treasury is considering introducing a 16% value-added tax on bread and milk in a fresh push to boost revenue collections from middle-class households. Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ngunjuna Ndungu said that studies by government agencies has shown that the current structure where VAT on bread and milk is zero-rated had failed to cushion the targeted poor households and instead benefited the middle class who have relatively high income. Zero-rated goods are products considered necessary, such as food items, sanitary products, and animal feeds, and are exempt from VAT. Zero-rating these items makes them more affordable for lower-income consumers.
All right, just with Africa, good morning. Let's head to the indicators just before Ari brings us the sport.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
running that mountain up. Okay, so we will be doing this for the mountain climber. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love that. I love that. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one.
Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy. And this is the spirit of NTV. Now, did I say Ari is bringing us the sports? I meant Ari's team is in the sports news. Let's look at the FA Cup fixtures that you can expect this weekend. Ari's team, being Liverpool, is facing Manchester United Sunday, 17 March. That is the marquee game. 5:30 p.m. is when the game will be played. Manchester City and Newcastle tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Another blockbuster tomorrow, 2:15 p.m. Getting you started is going to be Wolves versus Coventry. And then it is Chelsea on the 17th playing Manchester City, though that looks like Luton if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna have to get that a little clearer, but it does not look like it's Manchester City. All right, let's look at Champions League. Dortmund got the best of PSV, taking them to the quarterfinals. Barcelona as well. We know about Arsenal's famous penalty shootout. There hadn't been a penalty shootout in over a decade, and then suddenly in one night it's 2 penalty shootouts. Atletico Madrid getting the best of Inter Milan in theirs. But that has been Africa. Good morning. Lots happening this weekend from Glenora Shipura and Ashwin Berry, Sweraja Kanaka.